Okay. Chanel, John, Ian, Ken, David. All right. So everybody get in the line. Why don't you come up here? Okay. This really does feel better once it gets started. So, all right. So each of you will have a minute, and we will be timing that minute. Correct? Sandra? We're timing the minutes? Okay. So you'll have your minute, and then then you can head to your first table.
Thank you so much, and thank you to Citizen Detroit for educating all of us and having us here today. I'm Ian Conyers, the state senator for the 4th District. I'm currently serving Detroit, Lincoln Park, Allen Park, and Southgate. I'm running for our congressional seat because who we send to Washington, D.C. makes a difference on policy and performance. As a state senator, I focused on transportation, where I currently serve as the minority vice chair. That's a big title, but it means nothing if we don't have the numbers in Lansing. As a United States congressperson, the 3 things I will focus on will be public safety, that means gunshot detection technology, transportation, that means funding for not only fixing the roads, but for training the infrastructure, and more specifically, housing. The Department of Housing and Urban Development has rules and laws, and as your next congressperson, I will hold them to it with policy and performance. Thank you so much. I look forward to talking to you all.
Good evening. My name is John Conyers III, and I'm obviously running for United States Congress in the 13th Congressional District. I'm running for access to income, access to education, and advocacy for mental wellness. I face a lot of the same struggles that many of the members of the citizens of the 13th Congressional District have. And as a candidate, I am uniquely qualified to step in and serve. I've seen how my father, what he did, and I've also seen how he could have improved, having spent a lot of time in Washington, D.C. I'm looking forward to speaking with you all and discussing policy. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Citizens Detroit! Citizen Detroit! They said if I wanted to win, I had to come to Citizen Detroit. My name is Coleman Alexander Young II, and I'm running for Congress in the 13th District. Reason why I'm running? I got a 12-year record. I created over 10,000 jobs through movie tax credits. I passed legislation to keep property taxes low. I passed legislation to make sure that small businesses have energy cost recovery. And I have passed historic civil rights legislation, making sure that pregnant women receive mandatory paid leave in the public and private sectors. I've appropriated over $500,000 to the Charles H. Wright Museum. I've appropriated over $2 million to keep Focus Hope open. I've appropriated over $565,000 to children across the spectrum with autism, and I've appropriated over $6.8 million for low-income food and energy assistance.
Thank you.
Oh, that's it? Oh, okay.
All right.
I bring home the bacon as your standing senator, and I will as your next congressman. Thank you.
Good evening to everyone. I am Brenda Jones. I'm currently serving as the Detroit City Council President. I am on my 2nd term, elected by my peers to serve as president. I'm the longest serving council member. I am running for 13th Congressional District because I truly believe that your quality of life should not and cannot depend on your zip code. So many things are happening in the 13th Congressional District. I feel as though we have a large pie of money in D.C., and we must get our share of that piece of money that is in D.C. available to us. There are resources that are available to us that needs to come to the 13th Congressional District. I believe that I am the most qualified candidate to run. I've brought back civility to the Detroit City Council. I am able to work with people across the aisle to be able to get something done. Thank you.
My name is David Dudenhofer. I live in the city of Detroit in the Boston Edison district, and I'm running simply because I'm not satisfied. I'm not satisfied with the type of government and the type of leadership that we've been subjected to for many years. And it's probably the reason why many people just don't bother to vote anymore, because they're disgusted too. I believe in restoring constitutional governance because if I take that oath, my oath is to the Constitution, which means I'm here to defend your liberty. That is the primary objective of a public servant, is to defend the individual liberty of each and every one of us. That includes a restoration of constitutional governance, sound money, a non-interventionist foreign policy, free markets, and allowing you to keep the fruit of your labor because you best know how to spend your money. Don't send it to Washington to turn around and beg for it back. Now, at the basis of this, and my really foundation for running, is sound money. Right now, the government has the ability to print money out of thin air, and we've got to stop that.
Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. My name is, amen. My name is Chanel Jackson, and I'm a former state lawmaker, but I'm running for Congress, you know, really, really simply, I'm running for us. I'm running for Congress because 50%, nearly 50% of families in Wayne County, after working a 40-hour work week, cannot even afford basic necessities for their families. I'm running for Congress because 1 in 3 families in the city of Detroit is impoverished. I'm running for Congress to get the resources that we need to change that, to change the narrative, to change the course of life, you know, for all of us, for my neighbors and for you and for me and for my cousins and my relatives. You know, God has blessed me. I'm the youngest woman of color in the history of our state to serve in the legislature. I'm only the second woman, African-American woman in history to chair sessions of the Michigan House of Representatives. I want to take that leadership ability to Congress for us. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, well, thank you, everyone. Thank you for being here tonight. Sorry I got here a little bit late. My name is Bill Wild. I'm the mayor of the city of Westland. I've been the mayor for the last 12 years. I've been involved in local government for the last 20 years. I'm running for this district because I think I can make a difference. The 13th Congressional District is, unfortunately, from a median income, it's the second lowest in the entire country, but there is incredible amount of opportunity in the district. I'm going to be working to build bridges and connect the dots, bring the resources back from Washington to help rebuild the neighborhoods of Detroit. I'll be working throughout the district because as you get through the district, Detroit, Highland Park, Ecorse, River Rouge, all the way out to Wayne and Westland, there's an incredible amount of needs. So I've got a proven track record. You can take a look. A lot of people say if I get elected, this is what I'm going to do. I've been elected for the last 12 years in Westland. I've got a proven track record. I've created opportunity. We've brought in jobs. We've rebuilt our city. Westland's a great place to live, so I'm going to take the skills that I've learned in Westland and bring them to the district. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Bill.
As a senator, I wrote Senate Bill 364 in March of last year to create a fund for the state appropriations and for private businesses, philanthropies, and hospitals to fund gunshot detection technology. I took it a step further and had the CEO of the corporation deploy it on the east side of Detroit. The highest unanswered gun violence in the city of Detroit is happening on 6 Mile and 7 Mile in Gratiot. There are 19 miles of hot pockets around our city. As a United States congressperson, I will go to HUD, I will go to the Transportation Department, and I will go to the Department of Justice to get funding to end that narrative and start to bring that prosperity from downtown to the neighborhoods. It's unacceptable. It's gone on for too long. Gun violence.
It would end gun violence. I don't really understand.
Everybody's being shot to death. That's what gun violence is.
Yes.
Everybody on the east side is being shot to death.
Not everybody. We have guns.
Well, when you talk about gun violence, it's not acceptable to think that because one less person gets murdered, it's a case closed, Detroit's getting better. We have the lowest 911 call in the country, right? 10% of people even call when they hear a gunshot. That's a problem. If officers, who we know they want to get there as fast as they can, don't have good data, you can't get there. If you end that narrative, then people feel safe in their own community. Kids don't normalize the sound of death. They don't have to sleep in bathtubs or in the basement. Seniors, neighbors can start to come out and talk about putting those bakeries around. But the untold narrative of unreported gun violence in Detroit is what continues that narrative of two Detroits. Folks are not living in the same place, even though we're near each other.
The foundation of all of this is that people are not otherwise occupied, as in going to work, going to school, going about a normal life. When are we ever going to...
Okay, well, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Why do you believe you're the best person to represent half of Detroit in Congress? Why do you believe that?
Why do I believe that?
Yes.
Well, I am the only person in this race that has actual congressional experience. Not legislative experience, because I've never passed a bill. But what I have done and what my father made me do was sit in on committee meetings. That public ones and the private ones that no one can, you can only go to if you're staff or if you're a member. He made me sit in on those. Caucus meetings that you can only go to if you're a member of Congress, right? Meetings between constituents. He made me sit on those and really understand the job. So again, I don't have legislative experience, although toward the end, he would ask me questions and say, hey John, what do you think about this bill? How should I vote on this? He consulted me. Ultimately, he had to cast a vote, but I'm the only one in this race that can say that. So I think that makes you uniquely qualified. Beyond that, I'm a business owner in the city of Detroit. And so I understand the trials and the obstacles that we face, that business owners here are facing, the hardships, the taxes they have to pay. I understand that firsthand.
What is one of the first things you would do for Detroit if you were elected?
One of the first things I would do, for me, I would like to sit on the Appropriations and Education Committee. Again, education is part of my platform. Appropriations is where we bring home the money. I would like to sit on that committee to bring home federal dollars for our schools and for our seniors. And then beyond that, HR 1000, I would like to reintroduce that piece of legislation. HR 1000 is a full employment bill. And we've done this twice in our country's history, 1946 and then 1978, where we provided federal jobs for the country, across the country, where people could have well-paying jobs. The standard for the job was it was a five-year endeavor in which the target was 3% unemployment for 20 and older, and then for 16 and over, the target unemployment rate was 4%. That is a job. That is a bill.
What, if anything, needs to be done to change the culture among leaders of the country in Congress and in the executive branch?
The culture of the leadership in Congress is reflective of the people. If you want morality in government, it starts with the people. And because that we have accepted in this country a culture of corruption, it's corrupted the minds of people. And that's reflective in government. And I believe that the cancer on this country that is tied to all of the different issues and the problems that each of you face that I don't know about. I don't know about all of them. But they're all tied to one cancer, and that is the ability for the federal government to print money out of thin air. It is evil and it is immoral. And because they have had this power for more than 100 years, it has prompted them the ability to spend money frivolously and to waste money, waste taxpayer money on all sorts of things, from undeclared endless war, from bleeding the laborers of this country, from punishing the savers of this country with this phony money that is becoming more and more worthless. And so because of that, you've got a rise in groups like lobbyists that are trying to get more and more money. And because of all that, then they're encouraged to operate within the system as it's currently been corrupted. And so it's a never-ending Ferris wheel of corruption and money flowing in and out. But the people that lose out are all of us. And so my goal is to restore constitutional governance. My goal is to end the Federal Reserve through an act of Congress as it was created in 1913 by repealing the Federal Reserve Act, getting rid of legal tender laws, allowing for competing currencies, eliminating and repealing the 16th Amendment, getting rid of the IRS, which has done nothing but rob from people. And I believe that will serve as the level playing field for all of us to know peace and prosperity, to be able to get good paying.
Why do you believe you're the best person to represent half of Detroit in Congress?
So I believe that I'm the best person for this, really, because I am Detroit. I'm us. From a working class family, single parent home. My father died when I was 2 years old. Really have been the leader in my family in helping transition us from poverty and working class, into the middle class. The other thing is, I've had a very successful career in the legislature. I think you get a well-rounded person in me. So I passed more laws. I have 14 laws on the books than anybody that's in this race. Then when I left the legislature, I went and worked with Regional Transit Authority and put people, older people, young people from all 4 counties together to come up with a plan to improve transit in our region. And now I'm in the private sector, and in our companies, I've been the lead at our companies to get minority contractors and women partnering with us. I work for the Ambassador Bridge Company. We're building a new bridge. I'm at the lead at our company and making sure that we get minorities and women first partnering with us to build the bridge, but then also working on the jobs to build the bridge. And so in me, you get somebody that has been successful every single place I go. I've been a change agent, from the legislature to government at MDOT and then on into the private sector.
The bridge project yet?
Selling it to Florida right now. I think he was interested. I wasn't with him then. I wasn't with him. No, I just got there 4 years ago. I was in the legislature.
About the bridge project, from my understanding, they said Canada will pay the majority of the cost of that bridge project, but that's not true.
So that's not our bridge. That's the state's bridge.
How many committees do you serve on president in the city of Detroit?
City of Detroit as the council president, I serve on all of the committees.
How many?
5 committees.
You said you had 2 priorities. It's so difficult to hear. I heard your priority about education. What was the other one?
Job creation, the infrastructure. Because we are one of the poorest in the state of Michigan, the 13th congressional district.
Annie Carter, how you doing?
I am elected by the
Okay, just introduce. But my question is, the veterans, all the young people that serve in the military, what are you going to do regarding their health care issues?
And so, first of all, I currently chair the Veterans and Military Task Force for the city of Detroit. So veterans are true and near and dear, but I believe that a lot of our veterans don't even know what their benefits are. Just today, a House bill was passed and worked on today for our veterans to restore some of the things for our veterans that they had taken away. But I will continue to work for our veterans. I believe that health care should be universal health care for all,
There you go.
along with dental health care.
Oh, they get dental, but universal is the plan.
Well, dental is important because if you don't take care of your dental problems, it can create health problems with infections.
Okay.
So what are some of the things that the veterans were given back that were taken away from them?
Some of the benefits were taken from them, and I have not been able to look through all of them that were. Some of the benefits, there were 7 big benefits that were taken away from them, and they restored some of those benefits today by revisiting the bill.
Okay, my insurance has doubled in the last.
We'd like to ask you our question number 1, which is, what is your number 1 legislative priority? When you do arrive at the spot, what's your goal? What's your focus? What do you want to accomplish?
More than anything else, I got to bring resources back to the district. So.
Okay, when you say resources, can you explain?
So they just passed the federal government, so we haven't had anybody representing us by the time the spot gets filled for 11 months. So we're going to dive into the budget that just passed. We'll be looking for ways to bring money back to the district, either through firefighter grants, police officer safer or cops grants, infrastructure. They just passed a new infrastructure bill. So I'm probably not going to be able to walk in the door and try to get any legislation passed. But the budget is already done. We got to make sure that we get those resources coming back here before they disappear across the rest of the country. So.
When you say the district, the 13th district.
Absolutely, the 13th district.
And would you do that equitably? How would you disperse that?
Well, being the mayor of Westland, I got a pretty good idea what the suburbs need as far as infrastructure and their other federal funds. I know that this is a Detroit seat, and I know that the neighborhoods of Detroit are where the resources are needed. So what I'll be looking for is a way to bring back resources for the city of Detroit, the neighborhoods, but at the same time also I'm going to be a representative for all the cities in the district, because this district needs a lot of help in all the cities.
Exactly. But my question is, what sort of rationale will you use in terms of distributing? I know you're the mayor of Westland, and you specifically said the suburbs. So are you saying it would be 50% suburbs and 50% to the city, or what are you saying? What's your percentage of rationale? How would you prorate?
Well, what I think needs to change in terms of the culture of Congress is I think that, one, we've got to start reaching out and talking to each other, and we got to start appealing to our better selves. That's what I think we need to do. I think a lot of times it's all about tearing one another down. I think it's about scoring cheap political points. And I understand that you got to stand up and fight for what's right. But you need to have a policy where you agree with people when they're right and you fight against them when they're wrong. And I think that's something I want to do when I go to Congress. And I got a 12-year record of doing that. That's why I passed 11 laws as a state legislator, because I know how to reach across the aisle and get things done. And that's what I plan on doing when I get to Congress.
Next question.
Why do you believe you would be the best person to represent?
Well, I believe I'll be the best person for this position because I got a 12-year record. I passed historic civil rights legislation, making sure that pregnant women receive mandatory paid leave in the public and private sectors. I created over 10,000 jobs through movie tax credits. I passed legislation for energy cost recovery and to reduce blight. I've also passed legislation to reduce property taxes for people to stay in their homes. And I've appropriated over $6.8 million for low-income food and heating assistance, which allows us to bring down $300 million from the federal government. So in the words of my father, the Honorable Coleman Alexander Young, I bring home the bacon. And I've done that as a state senator, I'll do that as a congressman.
What is your number one legislative priority?
My number one legislative priority is to put people back to work, and my number one legislative priority is to increase people's wages. I want to do that by raising the minimum wage to $15 by 2024. I want to do that by investing in our roads. I want to do that through Transportation Infrastructure Finance Innovation Act.